Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Ringside Cinema. I am Money Mike, and what a action-packed weekend we have in professional wrestling this week. This weekend, as we have AEW All In, Saturday night's main event, and Evolution on Sunday, and yes, NXT Great American Bash as well on Saturday, but I'm pretty sure I know where most wrestling fans are going to be tuned into, and I'm sorry, WWE, but it's not going to be NXT Great American Bash. So, today we are going to be making predictions for Saturday night's main event, which only has 3 matches, which is weird, and Evolution, while my AEW All In predictions will happen on Thursday, as I do want to wait for AEW Dynamite, and I will finalize my predictions right after Dynamite goes off the air. Seth Rollins, LA Knight, yeah. This is going to be a tough one. Because, in one way, LA Knight, I think, needs the win. But also, you could say that Seth needs the win to keep the momentum going from Monday Night Raw, where they did take Sami Zayn out. Paul Heyman did say that Sami Zayn is out indefinitely. They took out Jey Uso, so to speak. So, does LA Knight have any help? Sure, there could be Penta, but again, you have to wonder, does LA Knight get any help from Roman Reigns? Could this be when Roman Reigns makes his return? We did see Cody Rhodes return at Saturday night's main event prior to Money in the Bank. So we could see Roman Reigns finally make his return on Saturday night. Now, could we see Seth attempt a cash-in on Gunther or Goldberg and then be thwarted by Roman Reigns? Could they attempt to... That's what I feel like is going to happen if they do want Roman Reigns to return Saturday night. So it's going to be one of those things where I think LA Knight wins, but Seth will attempt a cash-in later on, as if you go back to WrestleMania 31, Seth lost to Randy Orton earlier in the night, and then he cashed in at the end of the show. So I could see them doing this here. Then, of course, you have the returning Drew McIntyre against Randy Orton. And, say what you will. Cody Rhodes has been acting heelish. Randy Orton is kind of acting heelish. He's hearing those voices in his head. I'm leaning toward Randy Orton costing Cody Rhodes the championship at SummerSlam, perhaps with a punt kick to the head, because, Cody Rhodes is going to be all filming Street Fighter, but I'm starting to lean towards Randy Orton being the heel in all of this. And I think the way you do it, by having him lose to Drew McIntyre, and you start building Drew McIntyre back up for a main event run, and we finally give him a world title that he has deserved for the past year or so. And then the main event of Saturday night's main event, which, unless they add any more matches, this is going to be a 3-match card. You have the return of Goldberg against Gunther for the World Heavyweight title. Now, I am going to go with Gunther outright winning, but I think we could see a lot of stuff go on, like, the overbooked mess that Triple H has come to be known for in his booking, where Seth tries to come out and get involved, Braun and Braun come out and get involved, and then maybe Penta and Roman Reigns returns, and there's this whole thing where everything gets convoluted. Goldberg gets thrown off track by Braun and Braun. That allows Gunther to retain, but Roman Reigns potentially thwarts a cash-in by Seth And we close the show with Roman Reigns standing tall as we head into SummerSlam. So that's what I'm thinking here, is that Gunther will win. There's going to be a lot of chaos that will allow Gunther to win, but Goldberg will get distracted by Braun and Braun, trying to prevent the cash in. That's how he loses, and then Roman returns to take out Seth to send everybody home happy. Now let's look at the 7-match card for Evolution, and I gotta say, I am torn on what the main event should be for this, because it's either Rhea versus Io, or it's going to be the Women's Intercontinental Championship match, which honestly, that has had the most build of any match on this card. Like, to me, Evolution to me, the fact that this show was put on in this time, was put in this spot on the calendar just to thwart AEW, try to get people away from AEW. Then they added NXT Great American Bash at the same time slot as AEW All In. Like, to me, your WWE did not give Evolution or NXT Great American Bash a very fair chance to shine on its own. And starting off, we're going to look at the dream match between Tiffany Stratton and Trish Stratus. Trish Stratus made her return on SmackDown. Tiffany Stratton got to choose her own opponent, and she chose Trish Stratus, in which, good on the WWE to actually have Trish interact with Jade and kind of tease that Trish might win. And that if Trish does win, then she goes on to face Jade Cargill, who won Queen of the Ring at SummerSlam. So I do like that they're kind of in the same vein that, like, Michael Cole was like, what if Goldberg wins the title? Like, I don't think it happens, but, like, they're teasing the possibility of him doing more matches. So I do like that. But I do think in this scenario, Tiffany Stratton wins here. It's a good way for Trish here to get one more match in. Personally, I would love to see one more run by Trish Stratus that culminates in her winning the championship. But I think Tiffany Stratton here wins at Evolution, and Trish puts over Tiffany. And we will be getting a WrestleMania rematch between Jade Cargill, your new Queen of the Ring, against Naomi, who is Miss Money in the Bank. So since WrestleMania, both of these women have gone on to do much better things. Like I said, Jade is your Queen of the Ring. Naomi is your Miss Money in the Bank. She can cash in at any time. Could we see a cash in on Sunday? Like I said, Jade is waiting in the wings at SummerSlam for the Women's World Championship, or the Women's Championship. So be it Tiffany Stratton, which is Tiffany Stratton. But Naomi is kind of waiting in the wings. I mean, look, I talked about it. Trish Stratus maybe becoming the champion. But like I said, I do predict that Tiffany is going to win. But what if Naomi changes everything about SummerSlam? What if Jade wins here and then Naomi cashes in later in the night in Evolution? That is something to think about here. But here's the thing. The thing about Money in the Bank holders in the WWE is that they tend to lose a lot before the cash-in. So the thing we also have to remember is that Jade Cargill can't lose either. This is literally a lose-lose situation here. Like, I get that it warrants a match because there's the whole grudge between the two, but you're really in a situation where Jade can't lose because she needs to be built up for SummerSlam. Then you got Naomi, who can't really lose either. And I don't know if you want to have Jade go 2-0 against Naomi, which I mean, I guess you could then have Naomi get her win back over Jade by cashing in on Jade at SummerSlam. But again, it just feels like a lose-lose situation here. So I'm going to predict Jade wins by disqualification. It's not a clean win. It's going to be like a DQ finish. And that will get the return of Bianca Belair, in which Bianca will come out and make the save for Jade to stop a beatdown from Naomi, which will then set up Bianca and Naomi for SummerSlam, while Jade goes on to face Tiffany Stratton for the championship at SummerSlam. And next up on the card is a match that has TNA Slammiversary implications, as Jacy Jayne will defend her NXT Women's Championship against Jordynne Grace. And the winner of that match will go on to TNA Slammiversary on Sunday, July 20th, and take on Masha Slamovich in a champion versus champion match. There are reports and rumors that Jordynne Grace is bound for the main roster, so I could see Fatal Influence getting involved, costing Jordynne Grace, allowing JC to keep the championship, and we get JC versus Masha Slamovich at Slammiversary, but that would then allow Jordynne Grace to make her debut her main roster debut in that women's battle royal at Evolution. So I could very well see that, but man, I don't know. It's tough because I feel like this could go either way. But I'm going to go with Jordynne Grace to win the NXT Women's Championship. I think she stays in NXT just a little bit longer. And I think we'll get Jordynne Grace versus Masha Slamovich, and that rivalry being renewed at TNA Slammiversary. And let's stay on the subject of championships here. The Women's Tag Team Championships, which are now being held by Raquel and Roxanne. Adam Pearce and Nick Aldis, for some reason, decided to just let Roxanne freebird her way into being the champion. But I guess because they let Naomi do the same thing with Bianca. But the point here is that we now have Raquel and Roxanne defending these championships against a team from Raw, SmackDown, and NXT in a fatal four-way match. We have our participants in this match. Obviously, Raquel and Roxanne are the champions. You have your NXT team being Soruka and Zarya. Your team from SmackDown is Alexa Bliss and Charlotte. And we just found out on Monday that the Kabuki Warriors are reuniting with Asuka and Kairi as the final team representing Monday Night Raw. And yeah, Charlotte and Alexa are going to win this. Like, here's the thing. I feel like, to me, you could put the championships on the Kabuki Warriors here. But in a way, I feel like the Women's Tag Team Championships need a team like Charlotte and Alexa to kind of help revive these championships. Because these championships have not really meant anything for the WWE. They haven't really put too much effort into them. So maybe if they're on a tag team that consists of two megastars in Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss, that the WWE will actually start booking them better. I'm just saying, like, these women's tag team titles just have not been booked in a way that they should be. Like, it's kind of like an afterthought almost. You know, we go back to WrestleMania, like the women's tag team titles was just a booking narrative just to start a singles feud for a singles championship. So, yeah, maybe with Alexa and Charlotte as your tag team champions, that maybe the WWE will actually put some care into booking these championships going forward. And then you have the Battle Royal, the Evolution Battle Royal, consisting of women from all three brands. I would imagine there's going to be some surprises in here. But given the fact that they really haven't announced who is in this match, and usually when it comes to the Royal Rumble, usually they pick a handful of superstars to spotlight ahead of the Royal Rumble, and they kind of tell you who has the better chance to win or who might win the Rumble. I feel like they're doing the same thing here. Now, obviously, because of Liv Morgan's injury, they've had to rebook some things in terms of Nikki Bella, but Nikki Bella has announced that she will now be in this Battle Royal. Have to wonder, maybe we'll get Brie Bella in the Battle Royal too. But obviously, some things have changed, and maybe Nikki Bella could win, but I'm leaning towards Stephanie Vaquer. I think, to me, the match, Clash in Paris, the winner gets a match at Clash of Paris for the championship. So I could easily see this being Stephanie Vaquer versus Rhea or Io. And either way, we're going to get a good match out of it. So the only way I see Nikki winning is if Liv Morgan miraculously heals and she comes back and beats Io for the title, and then we get Liv and Nikki for the title at Clash in Paris. And of course, let's talk about that match. Rhea Ripley, Io Sky, the winner of this match is the Women's World Champion and the likely champion facing the winner of that Battle Royal. And like I said, either way, I think whether you have Stephanie Vaquer versus Io Sky or versus Rhea Ripley, you're going to get a good match out of it, okay? So, yeah, this is Io's first title defense since WrestleMania, which is absolutely insane. I am sorry, but the booking of the women's division heading into this show, I mean, like I said, they deserve better. They deserved a better calendar placement. They deserved better booking heading into this show. Triple H has shown way too many cracks in his booking lately since WrestleMania, and that's kind of upsetting because there's been so many missed opportunities. And Io having her first title defense here in July when she when she last defended the title back in April is a complete misjustice of Io Sky. And it's sad to say this, I'm a fan of both Rhea and Io. But yeah, they're going right back to Rhea Ripley here. Rhea Ripley, Stephanie Vaquer is obviously the match I think they want at Clash in Paris. And that's a shame because I think Io deserves a little bit more of a run with the championship, but if they're not going to do anything with her as champion, you might as well take the title off of her, which is a shame. So yeah, Rhea Ripley once again is your Women's World Champion and will go on to face Stephanie Vaquer for the Women's World Championship at Clash in Paris. And last but not least, what I think should be the main event of this show is the one match on this card that has actually gotten the most build leading into this show. And that's the triple threat match for the Women's Intercontinental Championship. Becky Lynch defending against Lyra Valkyria, the first Women's Intercontinental Champion, who wants her title back, and Bayley, who Becky took out at WrestleMania. She tricked Lyra into becoming her tag team partner, then later turned on her on the night after WrestleMania. So, this feels to me like a situation where you could have Becky lose the title and not get pinned. But the way they've been booking this here is this feels like a Becky Lynch win. Now, here's the entire thing. I did talk about this earlier in the week. I said, what is Seth Rollins' plan B? I said, what if Becky Lynch is the plan B and we get kind of Becky and Seth running together in this faction, and Becky's whole plan is her saving women's wrestling? You can check that video out here. And that would, of course, require her to lose the championship here to go on and challenge for the women's world title. But I could see a way where Becky keeps the title here. They're showing a lot of infighting between Bayley and Lyra. Becky's accusing them of working together. So, yeah, I think Becky Lynch is going to retain the title here. And that's it. That's Evolution. I think there's going to be a lot of good matches here on this card. I just wish the booking was better for this show, because I think the women deserve better booking heading into the show, and hopefully if the WWE does want to make this a PLE every year or every other year, that there is better booking for this show in the future. So let me know in the comments below, guys, what are your predictions for Saturday night's main event and Evolution on Sunday? Let me know in the comments below. And as always, I've been your host, Money Mike, and you've been watching Ringside Cinema.